Welcome to the Modern HTML course, where you will learn everything you need to know about writing clean, modern, semantic, and accessible HTML. This course is fully hands-on. We will start by explaining what is HTML and why it matters. Then we will set up our development environment and start writing our first HTML document. Hello everyone, my name is Uram and I am the Codeholic. I have 15 plus years of experience in web development and I will be honest with you. I thought I knew everything about HTML, but when I started working on this course, I learned a lot of new things, such as meter, sump, queue, template tags. I learned new things about accessibility and ARIA attributes. I even learned new things about SEO. So even if you have some experience, there still might be things you're gonna learn in this course. Here are some of the things we're gonna learn. Document structure, writing semantic HTML, text formatting, lists, links, images, media elements, forms with modern input types and validation, templates with proper accessibility attributes, embedding content with video, audio, and iframe, HTML5 features such as data attributes and custom elements, area attributes, and accessibility with best practices, and finally, meta tags and SEO optimization. We will cover every fundamental thing you need to know, and finally, we're going to create a landing page which includes all the knowledge, and we're going to use semantic, modern, clean HTML tags, and we're going to make it SEO friendly as well as add area attributes for accessibility. So the full package will be that landing page. And in this tutorial, we're going to make our focus only on HTML, no CSS, no JavaScript. This is the first part of my web development series, and this video will be followed by another course about CSS, another one about JS, and so on. All code is open source and the links can be found in the video description. Now let's get started with HTML. Let's first understand what is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the basic scripting language that is used by web browsers to render web pages, and HTML is used in not almost, but in all websites and web applications. Whatever you're going to see in your browser, that is using HTML. But only HTML is not enough. HTML is a skeleton. It pairs with CSS and JavaScript. So you can consider the HTML as the entire skeleton of the human being. CSS is everything visual. It is the skin, it is the color of eyes, hair, maybe t-shirts and whatever, it's an outline, it is style. And JavaScript is the brain. So those three work together. But in this tutorial, we're gonna make our focus on HTML only, on backbone only of all web applications. Now, I opened three probably the most visited websites right now: google.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com. And let's do the following. I hope you installed Google Chrome, because now I'm doing this on Google Chrome, and if you are not using Google Chrome, it will be a little bit challenging for you to follow me. Right click anywhere in your page and then click on View Page Source. We're going to see something like this, which is a little bit messy and it's hard to read actually. Now, we don't need to read this, okay? Just open it. Let's open Facebook right now, right click and View Page Source. Let's go into YouTube and right click and View Page Source. All right, so now we opened page source for all three popular websites, and all of them have one thing in common. All of them are using HTML inside their page source, because there's no other way to create websites right now. HTML is the only scripting language to achieve this. And you can see that all documents start with doc type HTML, this less than symbol, then exclamation mark. We can zoom in this, doc type space HTML, then HTML space and whatever. So the same thing happens right here, less than, exclamation mark, doc type. Here doc type is in uppercase, but that doesn't matter. HTML, then HTML comes right here, And in the same way, if we open YouTube, we're going to see this doc type, HTML, HTML, and so on. So all these three websites and all the websites out there are using HTML. And we're going to step by step learn what the thing is going on right here and how to create our own websites using HTML, as well as how to modify the websites generated by AI. We will need Google Chrome, which is a browser, to open the web pages. So if you already have Google Chrome installed in your computer, you're totally fine. If you're using another browser, just open that browser and type google.com in that browser. Then right here, just type Google Chrome and then go to the Google Chrome on the very first link basically, and then click on download button right here and download Google Chrome, because I'm going to use Google Chrome in this course and I'm going to show you a few things which is specific to Google Chrome, and I encourage you to follow me on Google Chrome as well. Okay, just download it, install it, that's it. Now let's open the Google Chrome. Next is VS Code, short for Visual Studio Code. That is the most popular coding editor out there, which is free and open source. So you can go to code.visualstudio.com, or you can simply type VS Code in your google.com, VS Code, and then it will open the following website, and click on download and download it for your operating system and install that as well. So once you install those two programs, that's all what we need right now. Once Visual Studio Code is downloaded, open this and you're going to see the following screen. So this is default VS Code welcome screen. On the right side, we have the AI agent, which we aren't going to use right now, so we're going to close this. On the left side, we have several menu items, and we are going to need this Project Explorer, and right here, we're going to have all the files. We might be using search a little bit, and we need this extensions section. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to remove this source control, as well as run and debug. I don't need them. So I'm going to zoom in even more. Okay, a little bit out, and then we're going to click on these extensions, and I'm going to search for live server. I'm going to close this and click on the live server, which has over 71 million downloads, and we're going to click on install. The live server is an extension which will give us ability to view our HTML documents in browser easily and reload it in browser whenever we change something. So this needs a little bit of time to be installed, and it is already installed. Good, perfect. Now we're going to create our first project. Actually, I'm going to close everything right now in my browser, and we're going to create new folder directly on my desktop. And I'm going to call this first_project. Now hit the enter. Now we have two options, more than two options, basically to open this using VS Code. One option is that when you install VS Code, it probably asks you to add the VS Code shortcut in the context menu. If you edit that on Windows 11, just click show more options, and then you can click this open with code. Or simpler solution probably is to click on open folder. Then you have to go to your desktop, because this is the place where we created our folder. And right here, we're going to choose our folder, first project, and we can click select folder. And the third way is that we can simply drag this folder into VS Code and open it, as easy as that. Now, we're going to hit this yes, I trust the authors of this folder, and I'm going to close this, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So perfect. Now we are going to create our first HTML document. So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to open index.html. Now, right here in this index.html document, I'm going to write hello world. I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose open with live server. You might need to scroll down a little bit to find it, but then click on this. Whenever you click on this, it is going to open that link in the browser. Okay, just ignore these notifications right now. And that was opened in my second browser, so I'm gonna open right here and paste them and hit the enter. Now, I see this hello world right here. And if I right click and view page source, I don't see those HTML things. I only see this hello world. And that's because we have only written hello world right here, nothing else. Okay, to summarize this, HTML.html extension is absolutely crucial for browsers. That tells the browser that this file is an HTML document file and the browser renders it properly. As we talked, HTML is backbone of every website, so it's absolutely crucial to have a good understanding of HTML and how to use different elements inside HTML. Now, so far we only have hello world inside HTML document. Let's collapse the left side, which you can open anytime you click on the following menu item. Okay, I'm going to delete this and we're going to create proper HTML document with the proper syntax. So every HTML document starts with the following line: less than symbol, then exclamation mark, then we type doc type, space, HTML, and greater than symbol. This line tells the browser that, hey, the content in this file is HTML version 5 content, so treat this accordingly. Okay, after this, we're gonna start with HTML tag. What is tag in general? Let's talk about tags. Tag is a special name which browser already knows and treats every tag according to its purpose. So we have typical tags where we have opening tag and closing tag, and we have self-closing tags as well. Okay, now let's see this in action. As an example, so we're creating HTML tag. Now look at this. So we have this less than symbol, then the tag name, then greater than symbol. And this is opening of tag. Now we need to close this tag. Every tag, whenever it is opened, it needs to be closed, unless it is self-closing tag. So HTML is not self-closing tag, so we need to close this. To close the tag, we're going to use a less than symbol slash HTML, the same tag name, and then greater than symbol. So with the following syntax, we open the tag. With the following syntax, we close the tag. And in between these tags, we can have arbitrary information. So we can have other tags, we can have some information, we can have forms, buttons, and many other things, right? Also, every tag can have attributes. Attributes typically give additional information to the browser about that specific tag. As an example, on this HTML tag, we can add different attributes. Like I'm going to add name as an example, equals, then inside double quotes, so we're going to write the value of the attribute, like name equals Zura as an example. So we can have multiple attributes on HTML tag as well. To separate attributes, we're going to use space and another attribute name equals, and then we can give like whatever. So we can use the existing attributes on HTML tags, or we can even come up to our own attributes and add them into HTML tag. So this is also possible. Right now we have HTML tag, and this basically is the entire opening of tag. So we add attributes while we are opening HTML tag. We don't need to add any attributes, and we don't do this when closing the tag. All right. So now let's make this real. Name equals Zura and age equals 33 is not common for HTML tag. HTML, as I mentioned, is a predefined tag which exists in browsers, and in HTML file we're going to use only predefined tags. So we're going to add a real attribute which is going to be lang, which I simply tells the browser that this HTML tag is in whatever language we provide right here. I'm going to provide EN. So this HTML tag is in English language. All right, cool. Now let's introduce another tag, and this is going to be head tag. Less than symbol, head, greater than symbol. Then we need to close this tag, right? So less than symbol, slash, forward slash, then the tag name, head, and greater than symbol. Now we have just opened the tag and closed this tag. In between, we can have another tag. And I'm going to introduce right now meta tag. Meta is a self-closing tag. So we don't do like this, like we have seen for head or HTML. So we don't do this. So this is not common for meta. And browser doesn't expect this. Browser expect that we don't have a dedicated closing tag for meta. Instead, we can leave it like this, and browser knows and understands that it does not need closing tag, or we can put extra slash right here, and this means that this opens and closes at the same time. Okay, so we can put even space in between the tag name and the slash. This also works. You can do like this version, this version, this version, whatever is up to you. All of them is going to work, and all of them are considered to be valid. So we have the tag which doesn't have closing. So what's the purpose of that? So it will have attributes. Let's provide attribute charset. And I'm going to provide UTF-8. So this tells the browser that the document needs to have UTF-8 charset, meaning it will support universal symbols like UTF-8 symbols. All right, let's introduce another meta tag. Meta, in this case, I'm going to add different attributes. I'm going to add name attribute, which is going to be viewport. I'm going to add second attribute, space, content equals, and I'm going to provide width equals device dash width. Then we need comma right here, space, initial dash scale equals 1.0. All right, let me do one thing. I'm going to click on VS Code settings. Then I'm going to click on settings. I'm going to search for wrap. And then I'm going to change this word wrap into on. So this means that I will always have every content visible in the viewport. It will not go on the right side outside of our visible area. Okay, what does this line mean? This means that we are telling the browser that, hey, this document's width should be the device width. And device width is whatever is your phone's or computer's screen width. So if you open the following document on mobile, it will have a smaller width. If you open this document on a large desktop computer, it will have a larger width. So this, in a nutshell, tells the browser that the document is a responsive document. All right, now let's use another new tag, title. And title needs a separate closing tag. So this is the correct syntax. And if you noticed, VS Code auto-completes that closing tag for me as well. So let's give this my first web page. Now I'm going to save this, and let's go into our browser. Let's close this. I'm going to refresh this, and that title becomes available right here on the following place. So if we come right here and change this into my second web page, then it will change in the browser as well. My second web page right here. Whatever information is inserted inside head tag, opening head and closing tag is not rendered inside the browser. So nothing is displayed right here, only title comes right here. Okay, so in order to display some information on the web page itself, we have to use body tag. So it's like an actual body. So we have head, we have body. The body has opening tag and it needs closing tag as well. And in between body's opening and closing tags, we're going to put some information. Like we can put hello world right here. We save this and we're going to see the result in the browser. But let me introduce another tag, and that tag is going to be h1 tag. And h1 also needs closing tag, and we're going to put hello world inside this h1 tag. So before I show you the result, pay attention. This is the entire document we have already. So we have this HTML opening tag with attribute length equals en, the HTML closing tag. We have the head opening tag, it's closing tag. We have title, it's closing tag. We have body, it's closing tag. So all tags have closing, unless it is a self-closing tag, like meta as an example. And also the ordering of closing the tag is really important. So we opened right here title as the last tag. So we opened HTML, we opened head, then we opened the title, and we need to close the tags in a reverse order. First, we have to close title, then we have to close head, then we have to close HTML. So this is important and you should remember this. If for some reason you forgot to close the tag, or you mess up closing the tag ordering, you might get very, very strange results in your browser. So browser might render this absolutely randomly, and it might not simply display as you expect. Now, let's have a look in the browser, and we see this hello world in much darker text color, and it's larger as well. So again, so if we have hello world right here, written without any tag, it is different, and the hello world inside h1 tag is absolutely different. Okay, HTML is case insensitive language, meaning the tag names and the attribute names can be lowercase, it can be uppercase, it can be mixed case. HTML still renders them properly. However, the convention is to always use lowercase. Okay, so if we change this into uppercase body, it is gonna still work, but it is not recommended. So I'm gonna stick with lowercase as well. Okay, now we have generated our first HTML document, and let's right click in our browser and view page source. Now this looks familiar to Facebook, Google, YouTube, whatever we have seen. We have doc type HTML, then we have HTML, and then something comes after this. Also, spacing doesn't matter in HTML, so we can write all this in a single line and it would still work like it was in Facebook and Google's case. But of course, we need readability as well. So we are doing this like this, and there are some tools which can simply put them on a single line. All right, now let's delete this everything. Oh, what did I just do? I just deleted everything what we have just written, but we're going to type exclamation mark, then tab, and it is going to generate everything what we have written by hand. Okay, but first we needed to do this by hand. So we can give this title, my first web page, and then inside body, we can use h1 tag, and we will have hello world inside. Pay attention one thing, I have written h1, then hit on tab, and now VS Code will automatically create h1 opening tag and h1 closing tag, and that is important. That will speed up your working process a lot. Now let's talk about headings. We have seen one example of heading, and this is h1. So in simple terms, this is heading 1, and heading 1 is the main title of our web page. And it is recommended, strictly recommended, that you have only one H1 tag on your website. H1 tag is important for search engines as well. Like whenever Google starts indexing your website, it is going to find that H1 tag and will assume that that is the main content of your website. But besides H1, we have other tags. We have H2 tag, we have H3 tag, we have H4 tag, we have H5, and there exists H6 as well. And all of them have different font sizes, but more importantly, they have different meanings. As I mentioned, H1 should be only one on the website. However, H2 can be multiple on the website, and that typically is section title. H3 would be subsection title. H4 will be minor title of something else, something not very important on the website. H5 will be smaller title of another something very not meaningful on the website. And we can have H6 as well, which will be smallest heading. Actually, those all these things are headings. So right now I'm using multi-cursor functionality. So I'm selecting the word, then hitting Alt, selecting another one with double click, and I'm going to change this into heading. Now, if I save this and we open this in the browser, we are going to see the following result. Hello world in H1, H2, H3, H4, zoom out a little bit, H5 and H6. And these are headings. And the recommendation is that we don't skip heading hierarchy. So first we use H1 as only one H1 on our website. Then we need to use H2. We don't skip H2 and we don't move into H3. Technically, you can do this. From SEO perspective, this is not recommended. And you should follow the following ordering, like first H1, then H2, then H3. You might not even need H4, H5, and H6, and that is also totally fine. It is not mandatory to use all H6 tags on the website. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about paragraphs. We have talked about headings. For paragraph, basically there exists P tag, lowercase p. We have opening P tag and closing P tag. And in between, we can have some text, like this is my first paragraph from HTML document, as an example. So we save this, we have a look in the browser, and we're going to see the following paragraph. This is my first paragraph from HTML document. Now let's create a second paragraph. We can put this on a single line, or we can split this as I have for HTML. Spacing doesn't matter. You can have as many spaces right here as you want. You can have as many spaces in between the words as you want. The text is not going to change. You're going to still see the same result. So the text is small. We can put this on a single line. Let me create another paragraph. And in this case, I'm going to generate slightly larger text using keyword lorem. Just type lorem, then hit on tab, and it is going to generate the following fake sentence for us. I'm going to save this using Ctrl and S, and we're going to see the result in the browser. This is the first paragraph. This is the second paragraph. And there is proper distance between the first paragraph and the second paragraph. However, if I want to create like line breaks, so we have the first sentence right here, then the second sentence, and let's say I want the second sentence to start on a new line. I don't want it to be new paragraph, just I want it to start on a new line. For this, I'm going to use BR tag. BR tag, as every tag basically needs a less than symbol, then BR, but BR is self-closing tag. So here we're going to use either / and greater than symbol, or only greater than symbol is also enough. We save this, and if we have a look in the browser, now we're going to see from here it moves on a new line. So we can move this after dot from here as well on a new line. Look at this. Now this moves on a new line. This is not a new paragraph. The spacing between these three lines are very small, identical, as it is between these two lines. So they are inside the same paragraph, but on a new lines. And these two are different paragraphs. Let me show you another small self-closing tag, and this is HR. HR is for horizontal line, and more specifically it is for thematic breaks. So if I save this, actually let me put another HR right here. Now we have two HRs, one here and one here. Now if we have a look in the browser, we're going to see this horizontal line after headings before paragraphs, and we're going to see another horizontal line after paragraphs. Okay, now let's talk about text formatting. For this, there exist several important and key tags you should be aware of. Okay, maybe you don't remember them right now after this lesson, but you should be aware of. First one is strong tag, and it has strong importance. Okay, and it also displays the content inside bold. Second is EM tag, that has emphasis, and it is displayed in italic. There also exists mark tag, which displays simply highlighted text. And right now, let's have a look in the browser. We have three tags: strong, we have emphasis, and highlighted text. That should be text. Now I'm going to copy and paste other tags, and simply we're going to have a look, and I'm going to give you a quick explanation what they do. But I think from what we're going to see in the browser, it will be very clear. So we're going to save this, and let's have a look. We have the highlighted text, then we have smaller text inside right here. So we have this DL tag, which displays the text as deleted. We can see the result right here, deleted text. And then we have this INS tag, which displays the text as inserted, like this. We have this subscript, sub tag, opening, closing subtags. We have this sub for superscript. There's this code tag as well, and pre-tag. The code displays as an inline code. The subscript and superscript, I think it's pretty basic. So the code displays as inline code. However, there is this pre-tag as well, which displays the content as pre-formatted text with spaces. And this is only tag where spacing matters. So if we create new lines and save that in the browser, we're going to see also new lines. And not only new lines, but any space like we do in our editor, that will be displayed in the same way right here as well. So if I move this on a new line, save this, that will be moved on a new line as well. We can create many empty lines, and that will be replicated here as well. So pre-tag is kind of special from that point of view. Okay, in old HTML, there exists other tags which does very similar things, like some of the tags are doing great here. As an example, there existed B tag, which is for bolding. There exists I tag, which is for italic. There exists U tag for underline. There also existed center tag, which displays the content in the center, and font tag, which displays the content in the with a specific font. However, these 5 tags are not recommended to be used anymore. These 2 tags, center and font, are outdated and you should not use. You must not use more specifically. So these 3 tags you should not use, because there are the equivalent tags, strong, EM, and ins, INS for the same purpose, and they are encouraged to be used and recommended to be used. As for the center or font, there exists CSS. We mentioned what is CSS. It is the styling of our web application, and CSS takes care of this styling, such as the center or font, or if we want to change color or do some things related to this. So using this is not recommended, so I'm going to remove this from here. Quick pause right here. If you're enjoying this course so far, why don't you hit the like and subscribe buttons? This really means a lot to me. Now I'm going to give you a practical exercise. So create a simple blog post with exactly one H1 main title. And you're going to have two H2 titles. So one H1, you're going to use at least more than two H2 tags, and also use several paragraphs with various formatting. Try to use as many tags from the following list as you can think of, but create the blog post with H1 more than two or more than or equal H2 tags and several paragraphs. Now let's start talking about lists and links. First, I'm going to create HR tag right here to create this horizontal line, and after this, let's talk about lists. In HTML, there are three types of lists. We have unordered lists, where we use UL tag, opening and closing UL tags, and in between, we're going to use LI tags for each list item. Like this is the first item. We can have second LI, second item, and we can have third LI, which will be third item. Okay, three LI tags inside UL. So this is an ordered list. If you open the browser and have a look at the bottom, I'm going to zoom in. Now we're going to see this first item, second item, and third item. Okay, awesome. Now let's create ordered list. For this, we use OL tag, and inside this OL tag, we are going to use LIs again. Now, this is ordered list with LI items. This is unordered list. If we check the result in the browser, we're going to see this is the ordered list. So we can also have lists nested into each other. As an example, we might be doing some sort of like a navigation menu, and I'm going to copy and paste this OL, and this is the main menu item. But it can have several sub-menu items there. So we are using another unordered list right here with several list items. So sub-item 1, sub-item 2, and so on. We can save this and have a look in the browser. We're going to see this main menu item with two sub-menu items. We can also have ordered list inside unordered list, like we used UL right here, but we can change this into OL. OL here, OL here. Just make sure that opening and closing tags match each other. So it is not valid to write UL here, but OL here. Okay, so we have OL everywhere. Now we see this is the main menu item with ordered list inside. So you can do the opposite. So you can take OL and you can put unordered list inside this LI of the ordered list. Yep. So you have variations right here. Now, the third list, what we're going to cover is description lists. For this, we use DL tag, and all these tags are predefined and exist in browser. So I'm not coming up something like myself. So this is description list, and description list has two tags. It has DT, which stands for data term, and as an abbreviation, we can define HTML, and it has DD, which is data definition and data description. or data term more specifically, and data definition. So this is hypertext markup language. So we save this, and if we have a look in the browser, we're going to see something like this. HTML is a data term, and its definition is hypertext markup language. So we can also add DT, which is going to be CSS as an example, and DD, cascading style sheet. Okay, now we have the CSS definition as well. So this is description lists. All right, now let's talk about links. We're going to cover how we can link our web page into another external website or into another page of the same website. To create links, we're going to use a tag. Actually, let me write a tag like this, and we need closing a tag as well. And whatever we write in between opening and closing text, that's going to be text displayed in the browser. Visit Google. Okay, cool. Now, when we click on this link, we want to visit Google, but we have to specify where is Google. What is the address of the Google? For this, we're going to use href attribute, predefined attribute. Then we're going to provide Google.com's address. Let's open the browser, open new tab, and type google.com. This is the website. Then I'm going to copy this and paste inside href. Now look at this. We only see google.com in the address bar, browser's address bar. Actually, if we start selecting or editing, then we see the entire text, and that is what is copied. Okay, cool. This for the last slash is kind of extra. You can remove it or leave it. This www is also extra. You can leave it or remove it. But let's have a look in the browser. Now we see this visit Google link. If we click on this in the same browser tab, we're going to see google.com is opened. Okay. However, what should we do if we want to open this in a new tab? Again, we're going to use a tag with href attribute. We're going to use the same URL right here and the same text, visit Google. However, there's one additional attribute we're going to apply to this a tag, and this is target attribute. Inside target, we have several options. We have blank, parent, self-top. The most common one is to either leave this target empty, don't provide anything, or provide blank. I'm not going to cover other options because it's kind of not common to use them, and they are very, very rarely used. Okay, so visit Google. So that is a new tab. So we're going to open this Google in a new tab. Now, if we click on this visit Google new tab, it opens a second tab and opens this google.com in the second tab. Okay, what if we want to create a link from our page into another page, but for the same website? For this, let's create a second HTML file, and let's call this about HTML. Now, let's generate this boilerplate code, and I'm going to call this about us. Let's create h1 tag as well and write about us inside. I'm going to save this. Now let's open index.html and create a tag here about us. Inside href, we're going to provide the address of this about HTML. This is going to be about.html. So we save this, and if we have a look in the browser, we see this about us link. I'm going to click on this, and it opens this about us HTML file, which we see in the browser. Now, let's go inside about us HTML, and I'm going to create one more link from here, which is go to homepage. Inside href, I'm going to provide index.html. We save this. Now, about HTML file has this go to homepage. Click on this, it opens index.html. We're going to scroll down below, click on about us, it is going to open about HTML. So right now we have two HTML pages and they are linked to each other. Okay, let's see one more example of using links. Actually, let's see a few more examples of using links. So imagine that we have a paragraph which has some text. And to this paragraph, I'm going to add ID attribute. ID stands for, like, it's a unique identifier basically. So I'm going to call this my paragraph. So this is the paragraph with ID, my paragraph. The purpose of the ID is that to find that element on the entire document. And the ID must be unique across this entire document. Now I'm going to create a link right here. Find paragraph. Okay, then inside href, I'm going to provide my paragraph ID starting with hashtag. And this basically means, this tells the browser, hey, find the element which has ID my paragraph. Now, if I save this and have a look inside index.html, we scroll down below, we see the following paragraph. However, if I scroll a little bit up, we don't see the paragraph right on this page. I'm going to click on this find paragraph, and it's going to scroll to the paragraph position. It's going to make the paragraph visible immediately. Now, I'm going to move this paragraph at the very top of my HTML document inside body. All right, save this. Let's scroll down below, click on find paragraph, and it's going to scroll at the paragraph position. So this is how we're going to use the hashtag and ID inside links. We have two more examples. One is to use links for sending emails, like send email is going to be the text. Inside href, I'm going to provide mail to and colon. So mail to and colon is predefined text, and we have to provide after colon the actual email, like zura@example.com. And let's do a second example for telephone. So this can be call us. And inside href, we're going to provide tel, then colon, and then the telephone name, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Now I'm going to save this. Now we see these two links, send email and call us. When I click on send email, it is going to trigger our operating system default mailing client. And whenever we choose this, it is going to open, let's click on this just once. And in my case, it opens Outlook, the following window inside Outlook. So we are sending to the following address, and that address is whatever we have provided inside the HTML document right here. So it triggers opening the following window, and we can provide subject, body, and send the email. So, and if we click on call us, then it's going to try to open the application which has calling functionality, calling support, and then it's going to start calling to the following number. The call us basically is most common to be used when using the website on your mobile device. You click on call us, it's going to open that link in your browser, not the browser, but the speed deal basically, and you'll be able to call. Every link, or more specifically, every element can have title attribute as well. And whatever we provide here, in this case, press and call us. Now I'm going to save this and have a look in the browser. And when I mouse over on this, I see the following tooltip: press and call us. And that title exactly does the exact same thing. So basically on every element, whatever you want, you can add the title, and on mouse over, it is going to display text, which can be a hint text. Now I'm going to give you a challenge. Create a navigation menu using an unordered list with links inside each li element. Okay? And you can use your imagination, create as many menu items as you want, but create sub-menu as well, and use unordered lists and links inside them. Now, let me introduce comments. What is comment? Comment is a piece of text that is not rendered by a browser, and it is not displayed in the browser's view. comments exist a single line and multi-line. So let's create a single line comment and have a look. I'm going to write single line comment right here only to annotate something and to leave a comment about my code. It is not going to be rendered. To create a comment, we're going to use a less than symbol, exclamation mark, dash dash. Then this starts the comment. Then we need to end the comment. Dash, dash, and greater than symbol. And this is a single line comment. All right. Now let's create multi-line comment. We are going to use the same syntax, less than symbol, exclamation mark, dash dash, and then to end the comment we need dash dash and greater than symbol. And just like this creates a multi-line comment as well. So the syntax is not changed. Single line and multi-line comments are created in the same way. Now let me create, this is a multi-line comment. Okay, so now I'm going to save this and let's have a look in the browser. We don't see anything edited right here. However, if we right click on the page and click on view page source, scroll down below, after links, we are going to find those comments, single line comment and multi-line comment. This is also a comment which is injected by live server extension. Anything just down below is for live server itself. So if we want to annotate a code just like live server does, we're going to use the following syntax, less than, exclamation, dash dash, and to end the comment, dash dash, and greater than. However, we should keep in mind that all comments are visible inside browser's page source. So we should use this to explain the code, to temporarily disable the code, or to leave some notes to ourselves and other developers, but we should not reveal any sensitive information inside the comment section because this is still visible. Now let's go up and let's say I want to comment out this call us section. So in VS Code, I'm going to hit Ctrl on my keyboard, then /. This creates a comment around the selected text or selected lines. Even if I select only this part, hit Ctrl and /, it is going to wrap these two lines inside comments. If I save this and we have a look in the browser, we aren't going to see call us button anymore because we commented out that part. Okay, I'm going to uncomment this, and that's basically all about comments. Now let me create another HR right here and start talking about a new section, images. So we're going to learn how to render images and how to add alternative text to the images, and we're going to learn a bunch of things around rendering images. But first, let's understand what tag we're going to use to render image. For this, we're going to use tag img. Img is a self-closing tag, so we don't need closing tag. We can write like this or like this. But in order to render an actual image, we need to provide a source. We are using src attribute, and inside here, we're going to provide the address to the image we are going to render. But if the image is not available on that address, then we need to show alternative text. So there exists alt attribute as well. Source is a mandatory attribute, but alt is not mandatory actually. So we can skip that, but we should not, because from SEO perspective, from search engine optimization perspective, it is important to provide alt text to our images so that search engines be able to identify what is this image, what it is about. Okay, let's go into Google, and I'm going to open browser, open in a new tab, and let's search for Lexus, and that's it. I'm going to go into pictures, and I'm going to choose the following image. Then we can right click and open image in a new tab. This is the image, and I'm going to copy the URL, open my VS Code, and I'm going to paste this inside source. Okay, so this is the source. Inside alt text, I'm going to provide what this is about. Lexus sedan 2025. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to save this and let's have a look in the browser. Scroll down below and we see this huge image. Okay, huge image. Okay, we don't want image to be that large, so we can provide width and height. One attribute width, and let's provide 300 in width, and we can provide height to be 200. I'm going to save this. If we have a look, right now this is how image looks like. However, image is a little bit shrinked because we provided width 300, height 200, but it is not proportional according to its original width and height. So I'm going to remove this height, but I'm not going to save this file right now. And this is what I'm going to do. Look at the image, and now I'm going to save the file and image is fixed. Now it shows its original aspect ratio. The height is calculated proportionally according to the image. Now I'm going to right click here and click on Inspect. And this opens Chrome Developer Tools. So from here we can do a bunch of things, but right now what I'm going to do is just mouse over on the image, and you can see that the image resolution is 300 by 169. So right here we see this 169 is the height calculated proportionally. The actual size is 1200 by something 676. All right. Let's go into VS Code and open this in a full screen. Okay, now I'm going to introduce another attribute which is called loading. And we have two options inside loading, eager and lazy. Eager is the default value, so if we want to provide eager, it's the same as we don't completely provide loading attribute at all. And eager loading makes sure that the image is always loaded. Even if we refresh the page and we don't see the image, it is going to be still loaded. How do we know about this? Let's go into this DevTools, into Network section. I'm going to zoom out slightly, then right click on this reload icon and empty cache and hard reload. It is going to perform hard reload, so it's going to fetch this image. So first, it made the request to fetch this index.html. Then, because this HTML document was requesting an image, it made the request to the image. It loaded this 126 kilobytes in 200 milliseconds, and then it connects to the live servers. This WS basically is to connect to the live server. Okay, so let's go into VS Code right now, and I'm going to change this into lazy. What this lazy does is that it does not load the image until the image is visible or the image is about to be visible in the browser. Okay, so in this case, right click and empty cache and hard reload, image is still visible, and because the offset between the actual image right here and the current scroll position is too small. Now I'm going to create several dummy paragraphs right now and generate this lorem ipsum text. So this is one paragraph, and I'm going to duplicate this multiple times, and pay attention to the right side. I'm duplicating multiple paragraphs. Now I'm going to save this, go into my browser. I'm going to right click and empty cache and hard reload, and look at this. Image is not loaded anymore. The request is not made. There is no 200 extra millisecond spent. However, if I start scrolling towards my image, at some point, it is going to be fetched and rendered. Look at this. So image was rendered, and when I'm about to see that image, it is already loaded there. And it made that in the background so that I don't have to wait for the image loading. And this is pretty cool. Okay. So images can have multiple extensions. We have right now loaded the image from URL, but let me do the following. I'm going to put this image in my project. So just next to index.html. I have the following folder and I have downloaded this image. So I'm going to drag and drop from my second folder into here. And this is my Lexus.jpg. I'm going to drag and drop another image, Lexus, but this one has extension .png. And the difference between JPG and PNG is that PNG does not have background. The image is without the background. So instead of the background, there are transparent pixels. All right, now let's go into index.html again. And instead of this link, I'm going to use now my image address. And my image location is lexus.jpg next to index.html. So I can directly access this lexus.jpg. So I'm going to save this, and if we have a look in the browser, we're going to see this Lexus JPG request made and the image was loaded. Okay, cool. What is the PNG? We see the background right now here. But if I include and if I render PNG file, now this image does not have background. So it is like it is a part of the website, which looks pretty cool to me. Okay, so this is the difference between JPG and PNG. And there are many different extensions for the images, such as WEBP, which is the modern format. SVG is used for logos and icons. And there are IVIF format as well, which is also modern format. And yeah, that's the common ones. Okay, now let's talk about responsive images. I'm going to open VS Code and create a responsive image just right here. So let's create an image tag. We're going to provide source, will be something. We're going to provide alt, will be something. But except the source and alt, we're going to provide src set to provide multiple sources, and we're going to also provide sizes. Okay, now I have several images downloaded, and I'm going to drag and drop them in my VS Code as well. So I have right here 3 images. All of them are identical. These are Georgian wines, and all of them are identical, but the resolution is different. So this one is 400 pixel width, this one has 800 pixel width, and this one has 1200 pixel width. And I'm going to use them right here, providing multiple sources. We should also provide a fallback source. In my case, fallback will be wine. We can set the fallback to be the original one or the large one. Let's use the large one as a fallback. Now here we're going to provide all 3 images, but we're going to start with small, which is going to be wine underscore 400 JPG, and that should be used, that has a width of 400W as a width. Okay, second source is wine underscore 800.jpg, which has a width 800W, and we have wine underscore 1200 JPG, which has 1200 width. Okay, let's go into sizes, and we're going to do the following. So max dash width colon, then space, and we're going to define the maximum width, like on 600 pixels, the first image source, this one, should be rendered on 400 pixel. Okay, so whenever the screen size is 600 pixel, it should render the first source with 400 pixel in width. Okay, cool. The next one is max width colon. Let's say when the device width is 900 pixel, it is going to use the second source, this one, and it is going to render this in 800 pixel resolution, in 800 pixel width. And finally, the default one will be rendered on 1200 pixel. So we defined 3 sources, and we defined 3 criteria when those sources should be used. And let's provide an alt, something like Georgian wine. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to save this, and we're going to have a look in the browser. However, this is not going to work as expected, and I'm going to explain also why. Because that criteria, which image should be rendered, is also considering the screen, whether the screen is retina display or not, which basically means if there are more than 1 pixels in actual 1 pixel. So it is kind of a little bit advanced stuff. So what I want to show to you is this device pixel ratio. So if this is 1, then we can try and have a look. But if this is higher, it means that on a smaller screen area where the display has much more pixels. And my screen basically has 1, but right now it has 3 because I have zoomed in into this 175 pixels. So I'm going to reset this. Now my screen device pixel ratio will be 1.75, and it is not 1 again because I also have this display scale up just to give you a little bit larger font. So I'm going to right now do the following. I'm going to set this into 100%, and I know the font size is too small, but I'm going to revert this back. And if we have a look in the browser right now, okay, I will zoom in this right side. So pay attention to the right side. On the left side, you can see that down below we have this image. Okay, now let's have a look in the resolution. This is 480 pixel, I'm going to tell you. And then we have this below 400. So this is below 400. Okay, I'm going to zoom out slightly, the right side. Now I'm going to right click on this reload icon and empty cache and hard reload. Now look at this. It loaded wine_400 JPG. So this is the image which is loaded, which one has a smaller size. Now I'm going to try to enlarge my image, and as soon as I enlarge, not the image, but the width of my window, and as soon as it is more than 600 pixel, it is going to load wine_800 .jpg image, which has a larger size, almost 200 kilobyte. And if I keep enlarging my window, it is going to hit that point where it's going to load this wine_1200 JPG, which has almost 400 kilobyte. So if you don't need 400 kilobyte to be loaded, and if you only want your application to be used on mobile devices, why to load that 400 kilobyte and just use this wine_400 JPG? So this is the case why we need multiple sources on the images. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. Now I'm going to revert this scaling back into 175, and I'm going to zoom in the browser as well. I'm going to zoom out this part, and I'm going to zoom in the following area. Okay, and finally, let's talk about figures. So I'm going to use now figure tag. Figure has opening and closing tags, and in between I'm going to use image, and inside image let's use again Lexus.jpg. We can provide alt text, Lexus car again, but we also have a second tag which can be used inside figure, and this is called fig caption. And the purpose of the fig caption is simply to display some text under the image or above the image, which simply will describe the image. So this is Lexus 2025 sedan or something, whatever you want. So I'm going to save this, and if we have a look in the browser, just down below, okay, let's give it width of 300. Now we see the following image, and just down below that we see this Lexus 2025 sedan, and this is fig caption. We can click on the following icon and click on this fig caption, and it's going to inspect this for us, and we can have a look. We have fig caption, we have image, we have figure, which is for both. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I want to delete those extra paragraphs which I created just to demonstrate the lazy loading. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete them. We don't need them. And the last thing I want to show about images, how to load them from a subfolder or from an outside of the current folder. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a folder and call images, and I'm gonna move my Lexus.jpg inside this images. Okay, now we have this Lexus inside JPG, and if I try to access that image and render them in the browser, now this is gonna show a broken image, and we see this alt text here, or actually this is a caption, fig caption, and this is the alt text right here. Also at the top we have this Lexus.png, and if we move that Lexus PNG inside images as well, we're gonna see the exact same type of broken image right here. Okay, how to include images from subfolder. Okay, let's have a look into this figure and this image. So we're going to include them from images subfolder / Lexus.jpg. I'm going to save this, and if we have a look in the browser, we're going to see this image is loaded. So in the same way, we can fix loading this lexus.png, but I'm not going to do this because I think it kind of makes sense. No, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to create HTML folder, and I'm going to move this index.html inside HTML folder. And now we have these images outside of the index.html folder. So now images will be broken. All images practically will be broken. And even our index.html is broken because this does not exist in the following location anymore. So we're going to provide the folder html/index.html. Now the HTML file is loaded, but images are broken, all images. So to fix them, from the current index.html file, we need to go one directory back. So we're going into the project root directory right here. And from there, we need to go inside images folder, and there is this lexus.jpg. So I'm going to save this, and now we can see lexus.jpg is fixed and is visible. Okay, cool. So I'm going to remove those two images, or actually we can leave them. Let's leave them, and let's go into index.html, and we can fix that. Vine related URLs here and here. This is going to be go one directory back, go inside images / and right here as well, go one directory back, go inside images and lexus.png, and let's take all these three images and put them inside images folder, and let's take out this index.html from HTML. Okay, so we don't actually need to go one directory back, we are directly accessing the images folder. Let's do like this. Now let's save this and have a look. We don't have index.html inside the HTML folder, so we're going to access this in the following way. Let's remove one / extra, scroll down below, and we see all three images now are loaded from the subfolder, and we can delete this HTML folder. We don't need this anymore. Now I'm going to give you a challenge. So, and please do these challenges whenever I give them to you. Now, create a new HTML file. Just search for images, for car images on the Google, whichever car you want, and create 4 image gallery with figure tag and add caption as well to each image. Okay, so 4 images, 4 figure, and captions as well. Do this. Please, please, please do this, and you're going to practice by doing these challenges. Here are some additional tags which worth definitely mentioning, and you should know them as well. One of them is this ABBR for the abbreviation. So this one is displaying HTML, but when we mouse over on this, we see hypertext markup language, and this simply explains what this term is for. Right here as well, if we mouse over on this asterisk, we see required. Okay, this is it. Now, let's see this block quote. This is for displaying the quote from someone, and this is quote from someone. However, we have this block quote with citation as well. So in this case, we display this block quote, but we also provide where is this quote taken from. And that is important again for screen readers, for SEO, and semantically this is correct. If we have the information from where the information is taken, we should use that and provide that as well. We also have this like inline citation type. My favorite book is, and The Great Gatsby is written inside this cite tag, and we see this, The Great Gatsby. Okay, so here is another example of block quote alongside with the cite tag. This is a quote, and this is the author name displayed. Okay. We also have this Q tag, which simply wraps the hello world inside double quotes. And look at this. Now, we also have this KBD as an abbreviation for the keyboard, and we use that to display keyboard key information to the user, such as Control and C in our case. We also have this samp tag to display the sample output, what might be produced by the computer. So in this case, this hello world is that type of output. Also, we have this var tag, which is for displaying mathematical variables, such as e equals mc in square. So look at this, mathematical or some type of variables, which is for physics or mathematics. Okay, so e equals mc in square. And finally, we have this self-closing tag wbr, which will break this large word into two parts in the following place if the screen size is not enough. So if I start reducing that, at some point we're going to see that this word breaks. Look at this. So it got broken right now. And this is what WBR is actually doing. Just have a look at them and understand, like have a good understanding of what each of them is actually doing. Now I want to talk about Semantic HTML. What is Semantic HTML? Semantic HTML is the way when tags describe their meaning, not just the appearance. Semantic HTML makes the code more readable for developers. It also helps search engines to understand the content. And it's essential for screen readers and accessibility. Okay, now I'm going to create a new HTML file and I'm going to call this semantic.html. Let me generate this boilerplate code. And right here, we're going to create semantic HTML with several tags. So let's go into head and let's call this semantic HTML example. Okay, now inside the body, I'm going to use header tag. And the purpose of the header tag is to display some information which is for the website's header. That's right. So inside header, we can have a website name or website title. We're going to put this inside H1, like my website title. Okay, cool. So this is the header. In header, we can have navigation as well, like the menu item. For this, we're going to use nav tag. And inside nav tag, we're going to use unordered list. Inside unordered list, we can have li item, and inside li item, we can have the actual links. Whenever we click on this, it is going to do something. Like this is for home as an example. We can duplicate this li item. This is going to be for the about page, for services, contact as an example. So we can give the proper text about, services, and contact, right? So we can define those links and we can provide an actual URLs right here, but I'm going to leave them right now an empty. So below the header, so we define the header. We have the H1, we have the navigation. Now below the header, I'm going to use a main tag. And the purpose of the main tag is to simply display the main information of the website. Inside the main tag, let's say we want to display an article. We have the blog, let's say, and we want to display the article. So we're going to use article tag. We have article tag as well. So inside article, we can have the article header, for which we're going to use again header tag, but we are not going to use H1 inside this header. We're going to use H2 inside the header, and this is going to be article title. So we can have article description and content as well. We can have the article date when the article was created. So we're going to use paragraph right here. So inside paragraph, we can display published on, and we can use a semantically correct tag to display when it was published on. For this, we can use time HTML tag. And the time HTML tag typically requires a date-time attribute as well. Let's say it was published today, 2025, 11/26. So right here we can provide November 26, 2025. All right. So I'm going to move this down so that this to be visible because of the smaller screen size, like this. Okay, published on the following time. We know that HTML, doesn't care about spaces. We can have as many spaces as we want, new lines as well as the typical spaces, unless we put them inside pre-tag, right? So we don't put anything in the pre-tag, so we can put them in a new line. We can do even like this. Okay, so and just below this article header, we can also use p-tag to actually display the article content. And I'm going to use lorem ipsum right now. Okay, so we are creating semantically correct website. So we have this article. Next to article, we can have something else. We can have a separate section for advertisement or something else. And for this, we can use section tag. Inside section tag, we can have h2, which is going to be section heading. We can have a paragraph, which will be for section content, and so on. We can have many information inside the section. We can also have a sidebar, like the one which is on the right side of our website. And that sidebar might be displaying additional posts, like the calendar information or advertisement again or something like this. But for sidebar, we can use a side HTML tag. This is semantically correct tag. And all these tags are predefined and exist in the browsers, and browsers know that they exist, and search engines know that they exist, and they are looking for those tags. So we have to know them and we have to use them correctly. So inside the S side, I'm going to use h3, and this is some related content. Again, it might be related articles, and we can have additional paragraph with some sidebar information. All right. Cool. So, and this ends the main section, and below the main section, we can have a footer. Again, we have footer tag for this, just like we have header tag. Inside that footer, we can have a paragraph which displays that this is a copyright information for the company, copyright 2025, your company, whatever it's going to be. So we can put this inside the footer and the paragraph. And we can also use HTML entity. We have not talked about HTML entities, but there are several, actually there are many HTML entities, and we can have a look. If we type this end symbol in our VS Code and hit Control and space on your keyboard, it is going to give us a list of HTML entities, and there are a lot of HTML entities. Just have a look in this scroll position. If we start scrolling, look at this, so many entities are there. And we're going to use copy entity, and that's going to display the copyright information. So I'm going to save this, and let's go into browser. We are still opening index.html, and I'm going to change this, and I'm going to open semantic.html. So this is my website. We have the website header, navigation, we have the article, we have when the article was published, actual article content. This is a section content. This is a side. Typically, this should be on the right side, but the styling is something which is typically done using CSS. So we're going to leave this as it is. And then we have this copyright section with this copyright symbol as well. There are even more semantic elements. As an example, in the footer, we might want to display the address of our website, of our physical location. So we can use address tag as well. So inside address, we can use a tag and just display the information. It might be email address, it might be physical address. We can write some info@example.com right here, and we can use the exact same email to provide mail to info@example.com. Okay, cool. So we can also have a details tag to display some additional information. Let's say in the section, right here, we have the section heading, we have section content, and we have some collapsible section. So we're going to use details tag. Inside details tag, we can have summary, which shows a short summary of our whatever thing is that. Maybe another article, maybe the information about the author of this article. Okay, so something which will be expanded if we click to expand. Okay, cool. And we can have a paragraph right here, which typically can be for a hidden content, which is revealed when we click on the expand. So if we have a look in the browser, we see this click to expand. When we click on this, it is going to show this hidden content. And this is a semantically correct way to display this expand thing. And just down below, we see this information as well. And it is in italic form because we have put this inside address field as well. If we click on this arrow and click on this element as well, we can see that it has text decoration underline. It has this font style italic, which is coming from address HTML tag. So, and this is semantic HTML, and you should always try to write semantic HTML because it is absolutely crucial for SEO and accessibility. Because for disabilities, for people with disabilities who cannot read, these semantically correct HTML tags are used for screen readers to properly just read out the information on the website. I also want to show you a bad example of using semantically correct HTML tags. So, bad example, which practically means we don't use semantically correct HTML tags. So this is it. I'm going to use div HTML tag, which we haven't covered so far. Div HTML tag is a simple container. It does not have any semantic meaning. It is a simple container, but it is a container still and easy to remember. So I know most of the developers are using divs for pretty much everything. Like they create divs and give them ID header. Inside that header, they create another div, give them ID like nav. Inside there, they can create another div with ID menu. They create div with ID like main and so on, and footer and so on. And this works. This displays in the same way like what we did. The UI is not going to change. The UI will be the exact same. But because this is semantically not correct HTML, it is bad for SEO and it is bad for screen readers. And it is bad for readability as well. So I encourage you to always use semantically correct HTML tags. Div has its own really nice usages and good examples where we're going to use div tags, but if we have semantically correct HTML tags for header, footer, main, aside, section, article, so on, let's use them and don't use div tags for them. Now we're going to talk about forms and inputs. For this, I'm going to create a new HTML file, forms.html. We're going to generate this boilerplate code, and let's give this title forms and inputs. Okay, perfect. Let's go in the browser, and instead of this semantic.html, let's open forms.html. We hit the enter, we see empty web page. That's because we have not written anything inside the form. Now let's introduce the first tag, and this is, guess what? It is form tag. The form has two like a main attributes. Action is one of them, and the second is method. Method has two main options, get and post. We can provide get all in lowercase or uppercase as you wish, but uppercase is more common. Get and post. And the get method is typically used to send the information which is not sensitive information. And whenever we are using get method inside the forms, that forms are typically for searching something, to fetching some information from the backend systems, right? We're going to see difference between get and post in action. But what is the action? The action is where the data should be sent from this form. Like we can provide some sort of URL. As an example, we can provide /submit. So whenever information is filled inside that form, and whenever user clicks on submit, whatever button will be there, the information should be sent to the following address with the method of get. Okay, now let's put something inside this form. We created the form. We know now that this is available. We're going to use a label tag right here. Label is for annotating input, what the input is for. Okay, and let's create label username. So the text will be displayed. Okay, now I'm going to introduce input. The input has several type options. So when we create an input, we have to provide the type attribute. If we don't provide type attribute, by default, it is going to be type text. If we want something else, we can provide, but typically, even if we want type text, it's a recommended way to provide. And here are several options, like you can hit Ctrl and space on your keyboard, and you're going to see several options that is available as values of type attribute. And let's stick with type text. And I'm going to give this input ID attribute as well. And ID is going to be username. Because this input is meant to enter the user information, username, I'm going to give it ID username. And we're going to give it also name. That name field is necessary. If we want the information to be sent to the backend systems, we have to provide name there. Okay. And the name will be username as well. And let's make this required. Okay, perfect. And because we have provided ID equals username right here, we can use the same ID right here, username, which will connect a label to the input. Now, search engine systems will know that this label is for the following input, so they are connected to each other. And also, whenever we click on this label in the browser, it will make the focus inside the input. And we're going to see everything in browser right now. And finally, we have to send the information, so we have to use button. And let's give it text submit. And the button also has type. And there are two main options, actually three main options: button, reset, and submit. By default, button is actually submit. So if you think that you need a submit button, you can skip the type. But again, it is a common way to provide. You make it more descriptive that, hey, this button is for submission. We can duplicate this button and we're going to create second button, which will be for reset. So this button is for resetting the information. Now we're going to save this and have a look in the browser. And let's create a typical button as well, which will not do anything. It will be a simple button. Okay, just like this. Now let's have a look. So we see the following username label, and whenever we click on this username label, it makes the focus inside the input. And this is the power of giving the same ID, the ID and 4 right here. So if I change the 4 and then click on this, it is not going to make the focus. So this label and the input are not connected to each other. Okay, now we make them connected. So now we enter my username, like Zura as an example. We click on reset, it clears out the input fields inside the form. Now we enter Zura and we click on button right here. It does not do anything, absolutely nothing. Okay. And finally, I'm going to click on submit and it sends the information to the action, but we don't have that /submit anywhere. So that /submit doesn't exist. And that is okay because we don't learn how to handle the data on the backend systems. We learn how to send the data and how to work with HTML. And whenever the backend system is ready, then we can point this action to the proper location and the data will be sent. But pay attention to this. The data is sent with the get, which means with the get method as we configured here, which means that the data, whatever we send, is visible inside the URL. And this is good and bad thing. Good because if we are searching for something and we search for like a keyword, that keyword will be displayed right here in the following way, probably. Then we copy the following URL. For example, it's a Black Friday time. So I searched for iPhone 16 Pro. Okay. Then I copied the URL, sent this to my friend. And when my friend opens that link, it has the same keyword in the URL. So it's going to see the same items what I was looking for. And that's pretty cool. Sometimes we need get, but sometimes we need post. If we want to send information securely, then we're going to use post method here. So I'm going to save this. Let's go back, refresh it, enter my username, click on submit. Now we see the following page. So the page is not working, and that's logical because we don't have that /submit. And if we check inside network tab, we're going to see that we sent the request into submit. If I click on the submit, we see it is failed. That is okay. But if we click on headers, we see that we sent post request to the following URL. If we click on payload, we see that we sent username corresponds to Zura. And this is the way how we're going to securely send the information. Typically, you use get for searching, filtering some information, and you use post for modifying the information. If your action, in this case, /submit, just reads the information from your backend system, you can use get. If it creates, updates, or deletes the information from the backend system, you must use post as a security measurement. Now, let's go back, and we're going to still see the form. However, if we don't fill out the form and click on submit, we're going to see the following browser's default validation message. Please fill out this field. And that happens because we have provided this required attribute right here. So we made that input field to be required. Okay, now let's see what other types of inputs there exist. So I'm going to leave this form right here, and I'm going to create a new HR, and just below this HR, let's see those inputs. So I'm going to create a label. This is going to be for name and name colon. Now let's create input, which will have type of text. As an example, we have seen the text, but I want a place where I'm going to put all input types. Okay, we can give this also a comment, input types. Oops, let's use lowercase n, and let's comment out this part. So we have the input types, and this is text input. Again, we can use a comment. Okay, cool, text input. Input type text, we can provide ID to be name. And this one has for name as well. They are connecting to each other. Name is going to be name, and we can use placeholder as well. We have not mentioned placeholder yet. Placeholder is a way to display the information about the input field inside the input field. I think the best one will be if we have a look. Enter your name. I'm going to save this, and this is it. So we see this, enter your name right here next to name. When I click on name, it makes the focus. That's power of for in ID. Okay, so let's copy this. Actually, I'm going to copy this part, and I'm going to paste down below, and I'm going to change this into email input. Now we're making this for email. The label is going to be email. Input type is going to be email. The ID is going to be email. Name is going to be email. We can provide placeholder as well. Enter your email, and we can make this required with the following required attribute. So we can make any input field, pretty much we can make it required. So because we have seen this required attribute once right here, I'm not going to just use again and again on every field. So let's skip that part. Now this is for email, and this is required. Actually, let me do the following. I'm going to put everything, every input field inside a new form. Let's give it empty action and method. By default, method is also get. So we can skip that part or provide method get. It's up to you. So I'm going to put these fields here. I'm going to format the code, and I'm going to use button right here. Okay, which is going to be submit. Now I'm going to save this. By default, as I said, the button has type submit, so we can skip providing type submit here. So I'm going to save this. Now we have this submit. I'm going to click on this, and it performs submission. However, if I provide required here, then click on submit, now we see the following error. Now I'm going to remove this required and enter something here and click on submit. Look at this. Now I have the following validation error. Please include @ symbol. So this basically tells me that this is not a valid email address. Hey, enter this @ symbol. You're missing some information. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy password field information because I don't want to keep repeating the same thing and just typing. So here is the password field. So this is clear. We have input type password, ID password, name password, and we have this min length to simply provide the minimum length for the password. Now, if we have a look, we can provide 1, 2, 3 here, click on submit. We see that the password needs to be at least 8 characters. And we see that the password is hidden when we're typing. As soon as I provide more than 8 characters, we can click on submit, and it was submitted. And in the URL, we see password as well, which is obviously wrong. We should send that information using post method, not using get, but that's a different thing. We are not talking about sending the information or handling this properly. We are just getting familiar with the inputs itself. Next one I'm going to show you is a phone field. Let's see this in action. Just right here, I'm going to paste this phone, and this is for phone. Type is tel, ID phone, name phone, and using the following pattern. So this is a regular expression. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into regular expression, but this actually means that we're going to have 3 digits, then dash, another 3 digits, dash, and then finally 4 digits. So if I provide something which is not in this format, we are going to get the following error: please match the requested format. As soon as I provide this in the correct way, then this is valid and it gives me ability to submit that information. In any case, I'm going to get this validation error. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We also have URL input. So I'm going to copy and paste this here. I'm putting this so that you can have access to the source code and see what is available. So this has a type URL, ID website, name website. Now, if I provide something inside this URL, this is the last one, okay, which is not valid URL, I get the following message: please enter a URL. So we see website right here, and then the following link, which is something I don't like. So this is what I'm going to do. After every pair of label and input, I'm going to create BR tag. So line break, 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 and break, and break here. So now this is it. So we see the website right here, enter something which is not valid URL, we get the validation error. The next one I want to show you is search input field. I'm going to paste this after BR. I'm going to format this nicely, and let's put another BR just below. So this one has for search, it has text search, and the input has type search, ID search, name search. We save this and have a look. So this is for searching. And this basically is semantically correct way to tell search engines that this is the place where search happens, not only for search engines, but for screen readers as well. So we enter some information, hit and submit, it is used for searching purposes. So we're telling screen readers about that. And finally, if we have the case when we want to enter multi-line texts, by the way, this search field has clear as well. So that's also one thing that differentiates it from other input fields. It has this clear button. Okay, cool, perfect. And after the last BR, I'm going to paste that. And this is not input tag. It is text area tag. And let's put another BR right here. Still, it is for data entering. Okay, even though it is not input, it needs this name and to send the data to backend systems, and this text area, because it is for like multi-line input, you can provide number of rows as well as number of columns right here. Okay, if we have a look right now, this is how it looks like. It is a multi-line text, and we see 4 lines by default, 3 and 4. And if we keep entering more lines, then we're gonna see a scroll right here. Okay, that's pretty cool. And we see 50 columns right there, which we can obviously shrink and show on the 5 columns, which is not logical. Sometimes we don't even provide columns. It takes the entire available width whenever we configure this properly using CSS. Right now, it takes the default width. So we can increase this by calls as we did. But typically, if we want to increase the text area width, we do this using CSS. Okay, so I'm going to skip that part. But whatever we enter here and click on submit, that is sent in the URL as well with a name. So names are what is inserted inside the URL. Okay, that's great. Now we haven't seen number input, slider input, some other inputs, so I'm going to show them very quickly as well. So this is for entering only numbers. Type number, ID, name, age, and it has ability to provide minimum and maximum values as well. Let's put beer here. Now, if we have a look in the browser, this is for number. We cannot enter any symbol here. I'm trying to type A, B, C, D, but it doesn't allow me to do this. I can start with this up and down arrows, and it starts with minimum 18. So I cannot enter any value. I can enter, but if I try to submit, I'm going to get the validation error. Value must be greater than or equal to 18. So I have to enter something which is in that range. I hit on submit. I see age equals 28, 24 in the URL, right? So let's copy several more examples. Now I'm going to copy 3 examples, actually 4 examples all at once. I'm not going to explain them all like one by one. Okay, I'm going to paste them. I'm going to format the code, and let's start from the top. This is a range slider. Okay, it has type range, ID, name, volume. It has minimum, maximum, and current value as well. Let's put BR here. We have date picker. It has type date, ID, name, birthday, and that's basically it. We have time picker as well, which has ID, name, appointment, and time is time. So I'm going to format this nicely. Another BR. And we have color picker as well, which has type color. So let's put BR here as well. I'm going to save. And if we have a look in the browser, so this is number, this is a range picker, and we have minimum 0, maximum 100, and the default value was 50. Now I'm going to set right here and click on submit, and inside the volume we see 75. I'm going to reduce this, click on submit, we see volume is 13. Okay, so this is the date picker. I'm going to choose some date right here, then click on submit, and the birthday is our chosen date. Now we choose the time, whatever we want. We click on submit, and we see appointment to be the following time. And finally, we choose the color. Okay, we choose the color code, click on submit, and this is the color code. I think I'm missing one BR right here. That's perfect. Now all of them are on a new line. Now let's see other input types for selecting the data. I'm going to use H2 in this case to give a section title, and let's give this radio inputs. Okay, and actually I'm going to use a special tag inside the form to group things similar to each other. So I'm going to use field set. So the field set is to group input fields related together for a single purpose, basically. So I'm going to use field set title, which is called a legend. Okay, and let's give this gender as an example, gender and column. So this field set is for choosing a proper gender into our system. Okay, I'm going to use input. In this case, we're going to use type radio. ID is going to be male. Name is going to be gender. Value is going to be male. And that's it. So let's move this on a new line like this. Okay, and we're going to also assign a label to it, which is going to be for male. And let's give it also text, male. Okay, now I'm going to copy this part and paste 2 more times. Okay, so we have a male here. Now this is for female. So I'm going to change this into female and the text into female as well. And this one is for other. I'm going to change this into other and here as well. Okay, I'm going to save this and let's have a look in the browser. We see radio inputs and we see gender, male, female, other. Look at this, how nice this field set is looking. Actually, instead of giving these radio inputs, I'm going to call this selection inputs. And I'm going to create another H2 at the top of this form. And let's give this basic inputs. Now we have basic inputs and selection inputs. Okay, cool. So we cannot choose more than one value right here. So we have to choose one at a time. And that is controlled by the name of these radio buttons. So because all radio buttons have the same name, gender, we have to choose only one value. If I change this and this is a gender, this is a color, and this is something else, then I can choose all three values because they are not connected to each other. All right. So by the name, browser knows that we need to select only one value out of them. Okay, cool. Gender. Okay, perfect. We can only choose one value. Another example I want to show to you is checkboxes. Okay, so I'm going to use BR here, and then we need another field set. Let's give this legend. And the legend title will be interests as an example. Okay, now I'm going to create input type checkbox. It's going to have ID, coding, name, interests, and value is going to be coding. And let's give it label as well, which is going to be for coding because this one has ID coding. Okay, and the actual label will be coding as well. So let's move this down like this. Now I'm going to copy these 4 times. Actually, I think 2 times. Actually, let's copy this only 1 time. So we have coding and design. Okay, let's change this coding here into design as well. I'm going to save this. I have a typo here. Interests. Okay, cool. I'm going to save this and let's have a look in the browser. Now I see interest, coding, and design. So I can select coding and design both. That is the difference between radio and checkboxes. I can also select the values by clicking on the labels itself. That's why we need to provide IDs and 4 attributes to labels. Okay, awesome. The next one and the last one regarding the selection inputs is to show you a typical select input. And we can have a single select inputs and multiple select inputs as well. So I'm going to use a label first. This is going to be for country and give this label country as well. Now let's use select HTML tag and let's give this name such as country and give this ID country as well. Inside select, we need to use option tags. Okay, we can have multiple options. The first option is actually kind of a placeholder for the user to select a country like this. Okay, and we can format it in the following way. The second option is an actual country. Let's give this a value, and value can be unique identifier of that country or country code or something based on which backend system will be able to identify which country is this. We're going to use US as a code, and the actual text will be United States. Okay, I'm going to duplicate these 2 more times. This is going to be United Kingdom. UK, and this is going to be CA as Canada as an example. So we save this, and if we have a look right here, we see this select a country. We can click on this. We can select one of these values. We can choose United States, we can choose United Kingdom or Canada and click on submit. If we make this select required, and if we don't choose any value, the value is empty, and if we try to submit, it is not going to allow us to submit the form. Okay, great. And finally, let's use multi-select input as well. We're going to use label. I'm going to make this for skills. And we need, select. We're going to give this name skills, ID skills, and we need several options. Option HTML, one skill, and let's duplicate these 2 more times. This is CSS, and this is JS, JavaScript. Okay, I'm going to save this. Let's have a look in the browser. We need BR right here. Now we see these skills, and actually let's make this multi-select. So we have to provide attribute multiple without any value. So now this turns into multi-select. So I'm going to click on HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript, but only one is selected. If we want to select multiple elements, we have to use Control on our keyboard. Like I hit Control on my keyboard, then click on HTML. Now both are selected, then Control, click on JavaScript. All 3 are selected. I can hit Control again to unselect CSS if I don't want to have that. So inside label, maybe we need to hold CTRL Control to select multiple. Okay, as a label right here. Great, so we can put another BR right here just to put this at the top of this input. Perfect, and finally I want to show you file upload field. Just below, we're going to use input type file, and let's give this ID to be a resume as an example, name to be resume, and we can provide accept what type of files it should accept. Accept equals .pdf, .doc, .docx, and whatever is going to be. Okay, so you can point out, dot is missing here. You can point out all the extensions you want to be allowed to be uploaded in this file. So we're going to use a label for resume, and the text will be upload your resume. Okay, let's use BR here. We save it, scroll down below. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to choose the file. I don't have any PDF files in my, or I have something. Yeah, I do have something. I can click on this Maori income. Look at this, the file is chosen, and when I click on submit, that will be sent to the backend. However, we cannot send files using method get. Okay, we need to use method post in our case. And additionally, we even need to change the attribute on the form itself. Let's scroll at the top and find this form area here. Of course, we can provide the action. The method must be post. And if we want to send forms, we have to use enc type, which is short for encoding type. And we're going to choose multi-part form data. Once we provide that multi-part form data, only after this we will be able to properly send uploaded files to the backend systems, and then the backend systems will be responsible to handle the logic there. Okay, so if I choose something else, not PDF, not document, not any valid document right here, not docx, and instead I choose image as an example, simply the browser will not allow me to submit that, and this submit button will be failed. Now I'm going to give a challenge to you. Create a registration form. Give it an action register and method post, and just put their full name field, email field, password field, age field, use proper input types. Like for age, you're going to use number. Also create their radio buttons, subscribe to newsletter, yes and no options. Put their checkbox as well to accept the terms and conditions, and 2 buttons, register and clear form. Just do this challenge for me and try to have a look at an existing form, what we have done here, and use the validation, proper validation attributes, like make the input fields required whenever you feel they must be required, and use minimum length for the password as well, and use minimum and maximum values for age, and basically use the knowledge what you got in this tutorial to create this registration form. Now let's create new HTML file, and I'm going to call this embed.html. And in this lesson, we're going to learn how to embed video, audio, and iframe data into our website. Okay, I'm going to close index. I'm going to generate this boilerplate code, embed content, and we need to learn video, audio, and iframe. Okay, let's start with the video. And for this, there exists a tag called video tag, and we can provide source to the video, but the best practice is to create multiple sources inside the video. Like we are going to use source tag, and the source tag is a self-closing tag, just like image, and we're going to provide source, just like image. And the source is going to be actual video address. And we have to also provide what type of video is this. As an example, we can provide video/MP4. So this is MP4 file. I'm going to create second source with *C, and the type in this case is going to be video/OGG. That's another video type which is common to be used on web. And the third one is going to be with the type video/WEBM. Okay, so all these 3 video types are common to be used on web, and it's recommended to provide multiple video sources just in case one is not supported by the browser itself, the other will be used. And in case the browser is old and it doesn't support video tag at all, we're gonna add a fallback text like your browser does not support video. Okay, so that's it. Now let's actually provide those sources, and I have actually downloaded several sample video files, and I'm going to take them right now and put in our project. So video.mp4, video.ogg, and video.webm. So let's open a folder. Actually, let's create a folder and call this video, and put these 3 video files inside that video folder. Okay, great. Now let's go into embed.html and provide proper sources. Like here, we need to go inside video, and we need to include video.mp4, video/video.ogg, video/video.webm. And on the video itself, we can provide a couple of attributes like controls as an example, which gives us ability to start and pause the video itself. We can provide optionally width and height on the video itself. Like let's provide only width. We also have height support, but I'm going to provide only width. So I'm going to save this. Let's open the browser, and we're going to access to embed.html file, and this is the video. So I'm going to right click again and empty cache and hard reload, and on the right side we see several requests, and as we can see, video.mp4 file is loaded because that is supported. The first one, whichever is supported, is going to be loaded. So if I remove this file completely, then we can see OGG file. OGG file is typically used for audio as well. And even though this is an actual video file, and I'm going to show this to you that this is an actual video file. So look at this. So these are my downloaded files, and this is an OGG file. So I'm going to double click on this, and this is it. So this is the OGG file that is playing as a video. However, the browser treats this as audio file. So we can add this as a fallback as well. Let's go into embed.html file. And if I remove this OGG, save this, now we're going to see WEBM file playing. Okay. Okay, perfect. Now, just to fix the ordering, first we need MP4, then WEBM, and then finally we need OGG. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now let's talk about audio files, or actually before audio, let's see several examples on this video. Like we have seen controls, and without controls, basically we don't have any control on the video player itself. The video player is rendered, but we don't have any actions. So with controls, now we have actions. We can play, we can just mute, unmute, we can run this on a full screen, and we even have ability to change the playback speed, picture-in-picture, and download. However, we have ability to override certain things when the player is loaded. As an example, we can provide autoplay. Now save this, and as soon as the page is refreshed, it is going to start. It should start autoplaying. Why didn't it start? Yeah, it starts. So whenever the page is loaded, I change something, save it, page was refreshed, and it starts with the autoplay feature. So we also have muted attribute, which simply starts the video with muted. So we also have a loop attribute, which simply runs this video in loop. Right now the video duration is like 30 seconds, so we cannot wait 30 seconds until the video starts in looping. But if I just do the following, it starts from the top. Okay, then it starts from the top again. Okay, so we also have ability to provide poster, and that poster should be a thumbnail. Okay, so I also have the following thumb.png file. So I'm going to take this and put in my project. Let's put this inside video. Okay, thumb.png. Now I'm going to use that right inside the poster, video/thumb.png, and we can move this one on each line to make this more readable. Okay, perfect. So we also, let's have a look in the browser. So I'm going to refresh. Okay, we need to remove autoplay. If we do this, if we need thumbnail, the poster, so now it displays the thumbnail. So right now I just took the same thumbnail. I took the first frame of the video and used that as a thumbnail. But I think it will be more interesting if I go into pictures and take like this Lexus, or let me do the following. I'm going to get that from images, lexus.jpg, save, have a look. Now look at this. Our video has a thumbnail of this lexus.jpg file. Okay, as soon as I start playing, the video will start playing as well. So we also have ability to provide additional metadata. Like we have a preload, and the preload has auto metadata and none. This metadata simply loads an additional information, not the entire video itself, but additional information about the video. Okay, for your reference, I'm going to put autoplay here, just to be available in the source code. Autoplay, muted, loop, we have the preload, and let's put poster back as well, which is coming from images, lexus.jpg. Okay, now let's create audio file. For this, we're going to use audio HTML tag. Audio. And audio has the exact same syntax, so we're going to remove this src from here, and we're going to provide several sources, like The first one, which will be, actually, let me first copy audio files. Let's provide the type first. The type is going to be audio slash MPEG. The next one is going to be audio slash OGG. Okay, so, and then I'm going to get my audio files from download, audio OGG, audio MP3 inside. Let's create audio folder. Now I'm going to put them inside audio folder, and then we're going to use them right here, audio slash audio MP3. Here we need audio slash audio OGG. Okay, perfect. On the audio, we can also provide controls, just like we are doing on video if we want this play button. And additional fallback text is also necessary. Your browser does not support audio. Okay, so we save this, and if we have a look in the browser, so this has an autoplay, so it is playing. The audio is there. Let's click on play. Now, there's this sound. You don't hear the sound. Let me enable this for you. This is the sound. Okay, so it is playing. So in the same way like video has, we can provide autoplay here. And now it is going to start as soon as we refresh the page. Okay, that's perfect. So we have several options that is available on the video. It is available on the audio as well, such as muted. It can be muted. Look at this. So it is playing, but it is muted. So you can provide this loop. You can provide preload as well. Preload to be metadata or none. If you provide none, then no information is loaded for the audio file, and you can see no request is actually made. So we click on play, then we can see request is made, audio MP3. If we set this into metadata and refresh that, we can see a request is made with the 206 status code. Once we click on play, it is going to make a second request, and in this case, it's going to load the actual audio file. Now, let's see how we can embed YouTube video. And I'm going to open the following YouTube video. This is my YouTube video, PHP in 1 hour. This is a crash course. Okay, average. So I'm going to pause this, and we're going to get the video ID, and we're going to use this in our code. But first, let's open VS Code, and right here, I'm going to use iframe tag. Iframe needs source, so we have to provide the source, and the source is going to be HTTPS. Actually, we can get this from the video itself. So if I click on share, then we can click on embed. This gives me entire iframe, but I'm not going to copy this entire iframe. Actually, we can do, and we can re-explain. So what's going on right here? Let me copy this entire iframe, and I'm going to put this here. Now, let's explain. So the iframe has width and height. I think this is clear. The iframe has source. I think this is clear as well. But we are using www.youtube.com/embed, and this is the video ID. And we have this SI here as well. YouTube knows what's this, like from where it was played, I think. So this can be removed as well, by the way. And we have the title here, frame border, which simply removes the border around this iframe. And here we have several permissions. The iframe basically has this LO attribute, and based on the following information, we are giving this iframe to do certain things on our computer or clipboard. As an example, this accelerometer basically is a permission that we can play like VR 360 video in our, if we are opening this on a mobile, and then when we tilt our mobile device up and down, left and right, the video, if the video is 360 video, it is going to be reacting properly. So we are allowing autoplay to the video, but in order the video to be autoplayed, we have to provide autoplay with 1 as well. Okay, but some of the browsers are blocking autoplay with 1 when if it is not muted. So we have to provide muted equals 1 here as well. So I don't want to go too deep basically, but we can copy, we can have this entire LOs. So this simply makes sure that we can copy and share and then copy the URL, this for encrypted media and picture-in-picture web share. Basically, this comes with the YouTube share, but all of them, none of them are actually necessary. So we can remove this, but they simply give additional permission to the iframe. Okay, so I'm going to save this and we're going to have a look. Now look at this. So this autoplays. Refresh it. So it autoplays. And by the way, we have provided muted 1. Why it is not muted? Actually, it should be mute, not muted. So in which case, the video starts playing and it is muted. Okay, so I'm gonna give it width to be like 300 pixel. Let's give it 300 and let's remove height completely. Okay, so that's it. And if I click on this share button, then it brings up the following share link, and we have ability to copy this and send it to somewhere else. So this is where all these permissions are necessary. Every permission has its own purpose. Okay. Now let's see another example of using iframe, but in this case we are gonna embed another website into our website. So I'm gonna use iframe here, and inside source I'm gonna provide my website like HTTPS. This is going to be the codeholic.com, and we can provide additional like width, height, anything. So those are kind of irrelevant right now. And let's have a look. So the codeholic.com refused to connect. Let's open this in the browser. Okay, so here we go. Okay, probably I'm blocking this, and that's why we cannot see this loaded. Let's open example.com. Okay, we're going to include this example.com. Save this and have a look. And look at this. So if the other website allows to be embedded on your website, then you can do. But some of the websites simply don't allow this, and in this case, you cannot do this. Okay, and the last thing I want to show to you is to have a video with subtitles. I don't have subtitles prepared. I just want to show you, if you have subtitles, how you can do this. And for this, I'm going to copy this video element and paste this down, and let's give it a comment, subtitles, and we're going to remove this autoplay, and then we can provide a track. So I'm going to provide track here. The track needs to have source. The track actually is a self-closing tag, so we can replace like this. Inside source, you have to provide subtitles, as an example, English.vtt, like the subtitle file extension. And we need to provide what kind of track is that. And we're going to provide it is subtitles track. And we can provide source language as well. EN as an example, and we can provide label is English. Okay, so if I copy these and duplicate, we can provide a second subtitle file for second language, and the label is going to be Spanish. So right now, because we don't have these EN VTT and ES VTT files, we are not gonna see the actual subtitles. But in general, this is the way how you can include the subtitles if you have them. Just to prove what I'm saying, I created this subtitles en.vtt file, and this is included for the English language. And now if we open our browser, refresh it, we can click on this three dot and click on captions and activate the caption, like English in our case. And when we start playing the button, it is going to display that subtitle. Okay, we have subtitles for only first like 4 seconds, but you get the idea. Subtitle is working. One last thing regarding iframes. So if you have iframes just below the fold, you can add loading equals lazy, just like we have on images. We can provide loading equals lazy, and the iframe content will be loaded whenever we start scrolling towards the iframe position. I have created tables.html file, and we're going to learn how to display tables. And tables are mostly used for spreadsheet-like data, for tabular data. It is not for page layout, for something else. And good examples are to display like a list of users in your system, like to set up pricing tables, some schedules and data comparisons. So when we have that tabular data, spreadsheet-like data, then we need to use tables. And there are several tags around tables. First of all, table tag. So we have table tag, which is the entire container of the entire table. And then for the table heading, we have T-head tag. The T-head tag is the table heading section. And inside there, we should create TR tag, which stands for table row. And inside TR tag, we have table heading, and we have TD as table data. Because we have this TR table row inside table heading, we're going to create TH tags inside this TR. So this is the heading. And let's create heading of the table, like name is the table. One column heading is name, another one is email, and we also have role. Now we have this heading ready. We can save this and we can have a look in the browser, and this is our table heading. Let's actually add border to be 1 on the table itself, which is like an old way of giving the border. Well, typically this should be done using CSS, but right now I'm going to leave this, and this is how it looks like. Okay, just to give you a little bit of like better view where are the columns aligned, how they are aligned. But typically you shouldn't use border because this is done using CSS. Okay, to display the content of the table, we're going to use tBody tag. Inside tBody, we're going to create table row again, and we're going to create actually 2 table rows in this case. So I'm going to have 2 rows, and in both rows we need table data tags. Like this is John Doe as an example. We can duplicate this. It has email john@example.com. It is developer. Okay, so another TR, and we have several TDs like Jane Doe, which has email jane@example.com, and it is designer. All right, now I'm going to collapse this and pay attention. So we have table heading, we have table body. We have only 1 row in heading, but 2 rows in the table body. So I'm going to save this, and if we have a look in the browser, this is our table, the very first table. If we want to have multiple rows, then we simply need to copy and paste these TRs. I'm going to duplicate this a few more times, and just like this, we have multiple rows in our table. Now I'm going to undo this, leave only 2 rows. And I explained the most of the things around table, but there is one additional tag which is called tFoot, which stands for table footer. So if we want to display some information like a summary of the table or anything like this, we should use tFoot. Inside tFoot, we're going to have TR and again TD or TH. TH is not common, so we're going to use TD. And I'm going to create two TDs, like total rows as an example, and this is going to be 3. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and if we have a look, we see total rows corresponds to 3. However, we don't have the third TD right here. For this, we're going to use call span. On the following TD, I'm going to use an attribute called call span. And the call span means how many columns should be combined into this single column. So we have this column with value 3D, and I want two columns, next two columns, to be merged into this one. And the result in the browser is this. This 3 right now occupies 2 columns for email and for role. And this is the way how we should do if we want to merge multiple columns into one. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see how we can add caption to the table. So inside the table, we have caption tag as well. Like this is user information. We're going to save this, have a look in the browser, and we see this user information, which is in the center because this is a table caption. Okay, just like we did call span and merged 2 columns into one, we have ability to merge rows into one as well. Now, let's see an example of row span. I'm going to create new table with caption Monday schedule. Okay, then inside the table, we're going to have T head with TR, with TH. We're going to have time, another TH, subject, and another TH, which is going to be teacher. Then after this, we need T body, TR, TD, and we're going to provide times like 9:00 to 10:00. So this is the time. Then we have the subject, which is going to be math. And then we have the teacher, which is going to be the name, such as Mr. Smith, whatever it is. Okay, now I'm going to copy this TR and paste, and there is another subject from 10 to 11, which is math lab as an example, but the teacher is the same. So we don't need that TD to be presented here. So we're going to remove this. Instead, I'm going to provide row span on this Mr. Smith. So I save this, we have a look in the browser, and we see Mr. Smith is for both subjects. And again, we can add border to have a better visual understanding of this. Mr. Smith is the teacher for all subjects. And actually, we can have a third row right here. We have this TD, which is sometime like from 11:00 to 12:00, and TD is science as an example, and the teacher is Mrs. Smith. So the teacher is now somebody else. Now this is it. So this is how and why we need to merge multiple rows into one. And I want you to practice on this. So I'm going to give you a challenge. And you have to create a weekly schedule table similar to this. Create a weekly schedule table and basically try to replicate the following functionality. It has the table caption, it has table foot as well. Pay attention to this part and just try to make it as close to this as possible. One last thing what I want to teach to you is to add proper attributes for accessibility into our tables. So we have, let's go back into our basic example right here, where we have this name, email, and role. And for accessibility purposes, we're going to add scope to this. And we're going to add that these 3 TH are basically columns. So they are column headings. And this is absolutely important for people with disabilities, blind people basically, that the screen reader to properly read the information. So when this is added, then screen reader can read name Jane Doe, email John, like whatever, name John Doe, email john@example.com, role developer. And in the same way, the screen reader can read every row because we added the scope column. And I'm going to put another example, another table right here for you, which is a very basic table. It has this scope column and scope row as well for times. If we have a look at result, this is how table looks like time, and this basically corresponds to the entire row. This also, and these are columns. So once we added proper scope row to this, and proper scope row to this, and scope column to this, screen reader will be able to properly read the data for those blind people. And just be aware of this and make your website like accessible for people with disabilities. Now, let's talk about HTML5 features. Some of the features like data attributes and some custom elements that was added in HTML5, which was released many years ago, but still it is exciting even right now, and we need to actually know what are those important changes, which is right now supported by almost all the browsers. So we have simple article tag right here with h2 and content, which is displayed in the browser. So I just created new HTML5.html file, which is open in the browser as well. So now I'm going to add data attributes to this article tag. I'm going to add any data attribute, basically starts with data dash and then whatever comes. So I'm going to add data dash post dash ID, and I'm going to assign something to this. So I'm kind of simulating of a real world scenario where article has post ID. It has author, data author equals someone, data category equals technology, data published equals whatever is the date. Okay, and that content is available inside the browser. So if we right now inspect this article, we can see that data post ID, data author, data category, so that is available right here directly in the DOM. And the thing is that we can actually access that data using JavaScript. And this is one of the main purpose, that we can save some additional information into related to that specific element, which we don't want to be displayed in the document. So we are assigning extra information, and that information is not displayed in the document. However, we are also able to access that information using JavaScript whenever we need that. So in the same way, if we have a button which and the main purpose of the button is to delete some item, so we can add the data action, what it should do, like delete is going to be the action. We can add data item dash ID. So just be aware of, so we can give any attribute we want to an HTML element as long as it starts with data dash something. So as long as it is data dash, then we can give it whatever we want, right? So we just come up to these names. Data action equals delete, data item ID equals whatever is that, and we have data confirm message as well. If you have multiple words in your attribute, such as confirm message, you should always use dashes in these data attributes. And we can give this whatever we want. Are you sure? Something like this, okay? And then we will be able to access that information using JavaScript. Okay, so here are several main purposes of this data: storing some configuration data, passing the data into the JavaScript, storing some state information of the element, and adding metadata to the element. Okay, now I'm going to create a custom HTML element, which is the part of HTML5. dialog. So we haven't covered this so far. So let's create a dialog. I'm going to give this ID is my dialog. Okay, so inside the dialog, I'm going to have H2, which is the dialog title, and I'm going to have paragraph. This is a modal dialog. Okay, and I'm going to have a button as well, which is to close that dialog. Okay, and we're going to have another button, which is to open dialog. But we need a little bit of JavaScript to open the dialog and close the dialog. So I'm going to use a small JavaScript right here. Okay, so I'm listening to the buttons on close, actually on click event, in which case I'm going to select that my dialog using document get element by ID and providing the actual ID. And once the element is found, where's the ID? Hold on. My dialog is the ID. And then once this element is found, I'm going to call close on this. The dialog has close. So I'm calling that close. In the same way, dialog has show modal. So I'm going to listen on click to this open dialog button, and I'm going to call show modal. Okay, we're going to save this and let's have a look in the browser. We have this open dialog. I'm going to click on this. It opens that dialog with dialog title, and this is a modal dialog. When we click outside, look at this, nothing happens because the dialog overlays everything else. I'm going to click on close and the dialog is closed. And that dialog HTML tag is part of HTML5. That's why we needed to explain this. So we covered details tag in one of previous lessons, which is also part of HTML5, which gives us ability to create some functionality without JavaScript. And this is really awesome. So we have summary, click to expand. Okay, and then we have anything else which will be hidden. This content is hidden. Okay, in the same way we can have a UL with li item 1, another li item 2, and so on. That content will be hidden. Click to expand, then the content is displayed. So we have other HTML5 elements, such as progress element. So I'm going to create a label, and the label is for file upload progress. So let's give it file progress, and the actual text will be upload progress. Okay, cool. Now let's use progress tag here. The progress tag needs closing tag as well. So in between we can display some progress amount like 70%. Okay, and then I'm going to give this ID to match the label for file progress, and I'm going to give this a value to be 70, and the maximum value needs to be 100. Okay, let's format this nicely and let's have a look in the browser. So this is upload progress. So this is HTML5's built-in element, which didn't exist previously. And this displays the progress. So we have the value, we have the percentage. As you can see, this 70% is not displayed. So it uses that value. If we change this into 30, we can see this 30. Okay, but of course that and this should be matching because that is for like screen readers. All right, let's see another HTML tag, which is meter. But let's first create this label, disk usage. Okay, great. Then we need to use this meter HTML element. The value of this is going to be 0. something, like I'm going to assign this 0.6 as an example. So minimum is 0 and maximum is 1. Okay, and I'm going to also display right here 60%. And let's give this ID as well to be disk usage. So let's put BR here and probably BR here as well. Now let's have a look. So this is for disk usage. So it is very similar to progress, but it has a different semantic meaning. Okay, now I'm gonna show you one more example about this meter. Meter, the value is going to be 75. Let's write 75% here as well. So then the minimum is going to be 0, maximum is going to be 100, low is going to be 25, high is going to be 75, and optimum is going to be 50. Okay, so we can put those attributes on a single line for better readability. We're going to hit the enter, then tab like this. We save and have a look. And this is our second meter. From first point of view, this is identical to the previous one, but actually those attributes have their meanings. If we consider this meter to be a battery type of meter for our smartphone, so we can change this optimum to be 100. So we have minimum and maximum, and we have optimum as well. Now, in this case, we can see that the battery, which is on 75, is kind of good because we also have low and high. This is good, and this is displayed in green. If we change this value into like a 15, then this turns into red. And this is very, very bad. And if we set the value such as 45 as an example, which is in between low and high, we can see that this is yellow. So based on those values, browser natively renders this meter into different colors. Common usage for meter is disk space, as we saw, battery level, some voting results, performance scores, temperature ranges, and so on. Now, let's see another example which is part of HTML5, and that is template tag. The purpose of the template tag is simply to create some content which will not be rendered and which can be used later for JavaScript to create some dynamic content. So we created a template, and inside the template, I'm going to use a div tag, which can be like a card. So I can change this into section as well, but let's leave this as div. Let's give it ID equals card as an example. Okay, so inside the div, I can have h3, which is going to be some information, and another paragraph, which is going to hold another information like the title and something else. And let's give this template ID as well. Like this is my card template. If I save this and if we have a look in the browser, we don't see this template to be rendered. In the source, right here, it is available, but it is not rendered. And the purpose, as I mentioned, is for something else. Like the JavaScript can get this by ID, can read the information inside there, and to create some dynamic content. Okay, let's use one more HTML5 tag, which is picture tag. So picture tag gives us ability to create multiple sources for our image, and depending on the screen size, one or the other will be loaded. It is very similar to providing source set to image. In this case, we're going to provide source, and let's use those 3 images we have for wines, like wine slash, actually, it is called images, not wine, images slash wine 400. Okay, and we can provide, actually that should be source set, and we're going to provide also media. The media defines when that source should be loaded. So we're going to provide minimum width to be 800 pixel. If the minimum width is 800 pixel, then we're going to load that information. Actually, let's change this into 800. And I'm going to define a second source here as well, where the minimum width is 800. Then it should render this 1200 JPG file. And we can have optionally an image tag inside there, which will always render this 100 and actually 1200 file. Okay. Or we can change this with the max width like we did for the sources. So we have different variations here, but the idea is that we define multiple sources and criteria when those sources should be used. If we have a look, we see the following screen. Actually, we probably need to provide width to this picture to be 300. We cannot. We should do this using CSS, but it's not important. I'm going to refresh this page and we see this 1200. If I reduce this down, I still see this 1200 because of the reason I mentioned, because I have the browser zoomed in into different sizes. So the idea, I think, is clear. So we have ability to define multiple sources and different criteria when those sources should be loaded. Actually, I think we should swap this. So first, we will need, let me do the following. So minimum width should be 1200. When the minimum width is 1200, we're going to use the following image. Okay, so another source, when the minimum width is 800, we are going to use the following image. And by default, we are going to use this 400 version image. Okay, now let's have a look. Now it is loading this 400 pixel. Okay, now if I start enlarging this, at some point, I'm going to zoom out slightly. At some point, my screen is not large enough, so I'm going to zoom out even more on the left side, but not the right side. And here it hit this 800 pixel mark. So in this case, it does not consider this device pixel ratio, and it loaded this 800 JPG. If I zoom out this again, and now I start increasing the width of the browser, it's going to load this 1200 pixel image as well. So that is the idea which I really wanted to demonstrate to you. And the final part I want to demonstrate is content editable. So I'm going to create div with some lorem ipsum information inside there. And on that div, I'm going to add attribute content editable. Actually, we can change this into paragraph as well. It is not mandatory to create div. This content editable can be added almost all the elements. And the result is the following. So we have the content and we have ability to modify this content directly in the browser. And there are special events in JavaScript. We can listen when the content is modified and do some things. I'm going to delete this content and leave only this. I have created new HTML file, aria.html file, and I have put some content inside there. And I just want to go through this and explain what is aria, attributes, and why we're going to use that. Okay, let's start from the beginning. And the first one is labeling. So whenever there are no visible label for a specific element, we have to use aria-label attribute on whether this is a button or input. So in this case, we have a close button and we are using aria label close dialog. This will indicate screen reader that this button is for closing the dialog. And whenever the screen reader starts reading the page, it will give the proper information to the user. In the same way, if we have input type search, but we don't have any label associated to it, we're going to use aria label and whatever is going to be that. There also exists aria labeled by. It uses when another element's text as the label. So if we have a button like this one, or not the button, but the H2 with ID dialog title, and it simply deletes the item. Okay, so we have a div with role dialog, and it has this aria labeled by dialog title. So this div is labeled by dialog title, which means that this is a description for the following dialog title. So the div here simply is a dialog and its label is the delete item. Okay, area described by. It basically does the opposite of area labeled by. And let me have a look and let me explain this to you. So we have a label, which is for the password, and we have input type password, and we have area described by. So the following field is described by the element which has ID pwd help. So this is the element, and this element describes the following input. And again, all these things are related to screen readers. Now let's see a second section to hide the content. So we have a button, and that button has area hidden true. So that button, that span more specifically, is not necessary for screen readers, as it only contains X inside there, and that is not actually meaningful. However, that close text is the meaningful. And we are hiding that span for screen readers, but screen reader will read that close. So screen reader basically will say that we have a button with close text inside there. Now we're going to add this area hidden on icons that add no information. So we can have icons, but the thing is that we don't care about the icon, we care about this text premium feature. Now let's see an example of expandable content. So we are going to use area expanded, which is going to show if the content is expanded or collapsed. So we have a button, and that button expands and collapses the following menu. And we are using area expanded false, which indicates screen reader that the target element is not expanded. And we also have area controls, which indicates the screen reader that this button controls the following element, this one. Okay, here we have accordion example. Area expanded true, area controls FAQ1. And the case is absolutely the same. So let's see another example, which is for the current state. So if we want to indicate whether the element is the current element or not, for this we are using area current. So in this case we have navigation, and let's say that this is the page that is opened right now. We're going to provide area current on this page. In terms of form validation, we have area invalid attribute, which marks form fields with errors. So if we assume that the following element has an error right now, we're going to add area invalid true to the following element. There also exists area required, which marks some of the fields required. The field to whichever field we will provide this area required. Okay, let's see an example of live updates. If we have some dynamic content and we want to announce that dynamic content, we can use role alert. And role alert should be used for urgent messages, which needs to be announced immediately by the screen reader. However, there also exists role status, which is for non-urgent updates. So if there are some status changes that the file was saved, the file was uploaded or something like this, and it is not urgent immediately to be announced that information, while the screen reader might be reading something else, then we're going to use role status. However, if the screen reader is reading something else, and then this happens, like the role alert element displays, then screen reader should immediately call this out, announce that, because this is considered to be an urgent message. There also exists area live to be polite, to announce changes when the user is in idle mode, not immediately. Okay, there are modal dialog related area attributes as well, such as area modal, which indicates that this is a modal that traps focus. Okay, we have area modal, and area labeled by is the confirm title, and the confirm title is this one. Okay, let's see another example to complete and for the complete form example. Okay, so we have the basic input with help text. So we have this label we have this input which has area required to be true. And we have this area labeled by name help. And this is a typical example how you would find for this inside this accessibility friendly frameworks such as Bootstrap or Talon CSS. Okay, inside their examples. This is an input which is labeled by the following element. Okay, so we have input with error, as we saw, area, invalid true, labeled by the following, invalid email error. So that is the area described. So that actually describes the following input. So we have the submit button, that's not important. So let's talk about the accessibility navigation. So we have this area label on the navigation, which is the main navigation. And whenever we select the current, whenever we access the home page as an example, we add this area current, as we already saw. So inside table accessibility, we are going to add scope column and scope row to necessary elements. And we have seen this in the tables section. And that's basically it. So here are a few takeaways which I'm going to leave inside this area HTML file for you to read that and to understand that. Area label is to label element without visible text. Area labeled by is to use an existing text as the label. Area described by is to connect help text to an input. Area hidden is to hide decorative text from screen readers. Area expanded to show expanded collapsed state. Area current to mark current page or item. Area invalid to mark for errors. And we have role alert for urgent announcements, role status for non-urgent updates, and scope to define table header relationships. Use semantic HTML first and add area attributes only when it is necessary. Now let's talk about SEO optimization and understand what are some of those essential tags that is necessary to make our websites SEO friendly. Okay, so SEO optimization starts from the head tag. Inside the head tag, we have this meta charset UTF-8 and meta with name, viewport, and title. But we need to add another meta text. As an example, I'm going to add meta description. I'm going to provide the name to be description, and we have to provide content as well. And that content should describe what is the purpose of our website. A concise description of the page content. Aim for 150, 160 characters. So that is meta description. Now let's see meta with name keywords. Meta keywords is not used very often right now, and it is less important, but still used for some of the search engines. We have to provide content again, and we have to provide all the keywords we think is relevant for our website, such as HTML, comma, tutorial, in my case, comma, web development, comma, and so on, like the Codeholic, and so on. Okay, the next meta tag is name author. So I'm going to add author information to my page. The content is going to be my first name and last name, and I can also provide my nickname, the Codeholic. Okay, let's provide another meta with the name robots, and that is for robots for search engines basically. And inside content, I'm going to provide index and follow. So that tells search engines to index this page and follow other links which you might find in the following page. So inside head tag, we also can have other meta tags, which is for open graph, and that is for social media sharing. Now let's create another meta tag, And let's add a comment right here. Open graph for Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay, I'm gonna make this as a comment. Now we have this meta, and I'm gonna provide a property equals, and we are using OG and colon as a prefix. So OG title equals, not equals, content. So the property is OG title and the content is your page title. Typically that should be the same as whatever title we have written right here. So SEO optimization. So we can put this SEO optimization here. So we need another meta tag with property equals something and content equals something. So I'm going to copy this. And we need that property equals something and content equals something multiple times. So the second one is OG description. So we have to provide a proper one sentence description, and you can actually take the same description what you have provided right here, a concise description, whatever. Okay, so you can use that. Now another meta tag with property OG image. In this case, we have to provide image URL. This is going to be an absolute URL like https://yourwebsite.com/image.jpg, whatever this is going to be. We also need URL type and site name. So I'm going to paste these 3 times. This is going to be OG URL, and we're going to provide our website URL. Again, we're going to use https yourwebsite.com, okay, / the current page, whatever is the current page. We need OG type. We're going to provide that this is a website, and we need OG site _ name. We're going to provide our website name, which is like the Codeholic tutorials as an example. So you're going to provide your website name here. Okay, so this is for Facebook and for LinkedIn. OG title, OG description, OG image, OG URL, OG type, and OG site. In a similar way, we need different meta tags for Twitter cards or for X cards. So I'm going to create a comment here, and I'm going to use now the same meta with property and content, but instead of property we need a name in this case, and the name will be Twitter : card, and the content is going to be summary _large image. So this is the type of card. Now let's add another meta. The name is going to be Twitter : title, and this is going to be our website, our page title, SEO optimization. Okay, cool. Another meta tag where we provide Twitter : image, and here we're going to provide our image. We can take this from here. We're going to use the same image. This is for LinkedIn and Facebook sharing. This is for Twitter sharing or X sharing. We need meta, we need description as well. So we have card, we have title, we need description. So we're going to provide Twitter description here, and we can take that description from OG description as well and use the same one, but this one is going to be for Twitter, and we can use name is going to be Twitter : creator, who is the author of this page, and inside the content we're going to provide our Twitter handle at the Codeholic is my username. So in Twitter we have Twitter card, Twitter title, description, image, and creator. Okay, great. what if we want to provide favicon to our page? What is favicon? We haven't explained this. Favicon is what is displayed right here inside the browser's tab. And let's create a favicon like link. We're going to provide the rel to be icon, and inside href we are going to provide that this is favicon. So I have generated several favicons, and you can find this in the project source as well, and I put them inside favicon. So we have several images, and this is a sample favicon which I grabbed from Google. So it is probably somebody else's favicon, but we're using this for teaching purposes. Okay, so this is the Apple Touch icon, the favicon 16 by 16, 32 by 32, and this is favicon ICO file. So we're going to use this favicon ICO file. And there we can provide several favicons. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide favicon slash favicon ICO actually, and inside type we need to provide what type of favicon is that. So if we have like a SVG type of favicon, we can provide SVG plus XML, which is the modern way. So in our case, if we had SVG, that would be correct. But because we don't have SVG, we have ICO, we're going to use, instead of SVG plus XML, we're going to use X-icon. So let me save this and have a look in the browser and look at this. Now we see the following icon right here. This is great. But we have to provide several icons right here. We can provide, and it is recommended way to do this. So standard favicon. Okay, let's create a comment. And I'm going to create this link with rel is going to be icon. We're going to provide type to be image/png, and we're going to provide sizes to be 32 over 32. And inside href, we're going to provide favicon, and we're going to select this 32 over 32. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change the sizes into 16 by 16. And I'm going to change the file as well into 16 by 16. Okay, so these are standard icons. Then Apple Touch icon. I'm going to create a comment out of it. And again, we have to paste this link, but inside rel, we're going to change this icon into Apple Touch icon. We're going to provide sizes to be, well, I'm going to provide 100 and what options do we have inside here? 192. Let's choose 192 over 192. And the type is something we can skip for Apple Touch icon. We have the sizes, so we can remove that part as well. And we have to provide this favicon, which is going to be 190 favicon. Where's that? Apple Touch icon. Okay, this is the Apple Touch icon. And what's the actual resolution? Okay, yeah, this is the actual resolution. So we're gonna stick this with 180 over 180. Okay, great. This is the Apple Touch icon. And finally, we need the basic one, which we added right here. So based on the different device, the icon will be displayed like differently. Right now we open this in the browser, we see this default one, that's totally fine. If you open this in Apple, like inside Apple iPhone, we're going to see the Apple Touch icon. Okay, let's see another link tag which is crucial for SEO, and this is canonical URL. So in this case, we're going to use link, but the rel needs to be canonical. Okay, and inside href, we are going to provide the URL which is the main URL of our web page. So we're going to provide HTTPS, whatever is the current URL. So if the website has like two URLs and both of them are rendering the same thing, we have to choose which one should be the primary one. And this is canonical URL, like yourwebsite.com/preferred-URL. This is it. So in most cases, that URL will be the same one what the user is visiting right now. Okay. Now we're going to talk also about languages and internalization. So if our website has support for multiple languages, then we are going to define them inside using link tags. So inside rel, I'm going to provide alternative. Then inside href, I'm going to provide like HTTPS yourwebsite.com/ and the language. As an example, it can be ES as a like for the Spain language. Because our website right now has a language to be EN, now browser knows that the content right here is English, but we want to provide search engines information that there is Spanish or French version of the website as well. Okay, so we are doing this using rel alternative. Href is the URL, and we're going to use href link as well to be ES. Okay, and just like this, browser and the search engines know that there is alternative URL of the current page, and this is going to be current page. Yeah, that's all. We can duplicate this and we can create like into multiple languages if your website has multiple languages as well. Okay, cool. And the final one, we can use theme color for mobile browsers. Okay, so for this, we're going to use meta name equals theme color and content equals whatever we want. So like we can choose some hex code. And if you don't know what is hex code, that's also not a problem. You can simply find like online color picker or something like this, and you can go ahead and pick a color, what color you want. Like this picks from the image, but where's that? I want to choose my own color. Here it is. So you can choose whatever color you want. Let's say this one, and this is the hex code. So we're going to get this and provide it here. That only works for mobiles, and as an example, if you open the website on an Android phone, the browser's top bar will be colored with this dark blue, and you should pick the color which is close to your website branding, right? In this case, the website and the browser itself will feel more integrated into your website and more branded. Now, let me give you several recommendations from the SEO perspective. Use H1 to H6 tags in a logical order, and don't skip the in-between tag. URL structure, use descriptive and readable URLs. Link between pages on your website. And create original and valuable content. Optimize your images and minimize the code so that your website load faster. Make it mobile friendly, and this is the part of the CSS where we introduce how to make it mobile friendly, but you should consider these things. Make it mobile friendly as much as possible. Use alt texts to describe your images accurately, and use proper meta tags inside your head tag. Now it's time to use all our knowledge and create the following ugly looking but actually well structured HTML page. So this is it. You can pause the screen and have a look each element, how it is done, and you're going to do this by yourself. I'm not going to show the source code for next several seconds, and I will announce you whenever I'm about to show the source code to you. Like I'm going to give you a quick overview, but you can check the entire source code in the repository. Okay, so take this challenge and try to build this yourself. So we have this skip to main content. If we click on this, it is going to skip that and go to the following section, project management made simple. We have this navigation menu, click on features, it is going to come here. Click on pricing, it's going to come here. Click on content, so you get the idea, right? So now let's scroll down step by step. Get started free is going to also go into contact section. So now look at this. We are using horizontal lines, the section titles, subsections with paragraphs and icons. We have used the pricing table, what our users say, frequently asked questions, and the contact section. And about cloud tasks. So the cloud task is just a made-up name. Finally, we have the footer section with quick links, some legal things, and connect us, also links which should redirect on Twitter, LinkedIn, GitHub pages. But of course, we don't have them, so you can just create like empty links with invalid URLs, non-existing URLs. Now let's have a quick look of this project.html file. So we have these meta tags with description, keywords, author information. We have this open graph related tags as well. So this is absolutely SEO friendly as well. Twitter card, we have the favicon as well. Then we skip to the main content. We have the following link. We have the header navigation with area labels as well. We have the horizontal lines as separators. Then we have this main content with the semantically correct tags. We have the sections, and we have sections and sections and sections. We have articles inside the sections, and so on. If we scroll down below, we have the following table for pricing, which has the proper scopes as well added to it. We have the testimonial section where we use these block quote tags. Okay, let's scroll down below. Then we have the FAQ section. Again, we are using articles with H3 end paragraph. We have the context form with a section. We have the form with action and method post, and a form inputs here as well. I'm going to scroll down below. And then we have the company info section, about H2, some description, then an ordered list with some features or advantages of our company, basically pros. And inside the footer section, we have the quick links and legal links as well, and connect with us social media links. And finally, we have this copyright and made with love by the Cloud Task team. All right, my friends. We are here and we have completed our HTML course for absolute beginners. If you want CSS and JavaScript courses as well, please leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you are not yet, and let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.